let's head over to the West and let's start from the bottom game in that bracket. We'll do Vancouver FC Dallas. We'll do a little U move, right? I'm going to be straight. The West was a lot less exciting, right? Everything that you expected to happen pretty much happened without a lot of drama, right? And Vancouver Dallas
Now,
was kind of that.
with the exception of one series.
Yes, and we will get to that, and I am very excited. I didn't realize my shirt matches my scarf.
Whoa, planned
Yeah, they call me a fashion icon. It's whatever.
outfit of the day.
Oh man, people who are not watching this and are just listening to it are going to be so very confused. Go watch it on YouTube. You'll laugh. Yeah, Vancouver Dallas was whatever, right? Um,
Business as usual.
yeah, pretty. Yeah, that's a good one, right? And what kind of was annoying was they played each other on the last game of the season too, so they did technically play 3 games in a row, but nothing special, right? First round, Vancouver walked him 3-0. Daniel Rios, Thomas Muller from the spot. I think we're gonna have to call him Thomas Puller because I don't only see him score pens. And Kenji Cabrera. Second match was a lot closer. Vancouver had to survive in the dying seconds through a 93rd minute Ralph Priso goal from a corner, and then they went on. Yeah, they had a couple chances with the last few minutes after that goal to actually win the game. Jaden Nelson had a shot right at the goalkeeper with basically the last kick of the game, and he just missed it. And then they went to penalties. One of the common themes that I've seen in penalties this round is that shooters aren't making goalkeepers make saves. They're just missing the net, right? Colorado, and this goes to MLS Next Pro too, right? Colorado missed their first two. In this Dallas Vancouver game, FC Dallas sent their second shot off the bar and their fourth completely over the bar. They only missed two. They didn't even make the keeper make a save, right? And we'll talk about some other penalty shootouts down the line, but Seattle's out because they had a couple of really bad misses too, right? But it wasn't really anything that you were shocked. Like I didn't wake up and be like, oh wow, I can't believe, Vancouver 1-2. But the question I'm going to ask you is Vancouver the real deal?
I think they are the real deal. That being said, I think they're a little bit unlucky because I think there's a maybe one or two teams in the West that I think are also the real deal. Like in terms of the teams left in the playoffs, I think they're, in my opinion, I think they're probably a top two team. Like I do think they are legit. This is a talented team who got off to a really hot start in the season. And I feel like there were definitely points in time where I'm like, all right, they're gonna cool off. They're gonna fall back to typical Vancouver levels in the West, but they haven't. I mean, they were what, a point off from the Shield? I know this wasn't a super strong Shield year, but they've been consistently good throughout the whole year. And then round one of the playoffs, they haven't proven otherwise. They took care of business against Dallas. They got the job done. They made it look, I mean, granted, they scored a 93rd minute equalizer in game two. So, Dallas put up some fight, but relatively speaking, they won it in two. So they made it look relatively easy. Um, I don't see any way that you can say they're not the real deal.
Yeah, and if you think about it, right, the reason that they had to get lucky in that last game is because Dallas just packed the box, right? I mean, Vancouver had 11 shots, 58% possession, just dominated the game really. And it was because Vancouver and Dallas did this in the last game of the season, and they also did it in the end of the first half of this game where they just packed it in and were like, break us down, I dare you. And that's going to be difficult for any team. And they did their job, right? But what does FC Dallas do moving on here? Like, do they have a foundation to build off of? Luciano Costa's gone and they got significantly better after he left. Where does FC Dallas go from here? Because I don't want to say I struggle to see a future with Eric Quill being successful because I think he's done well. But right now Dallas doesn't jump off to me as a team like Chicago, for example, where I've got hope that they're going to get this right. Dallas just feels kind of like they're going to stay where they're at and be fighting for the bottom of the playoffs if they don't make major changes. What do you think?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, I think they went for the Lucho Acosta experiment this year. Worthwhile go for that. I mean, uh, Lucho has been one of the best players in the league in the past couple of seasons. So I think you had to take a shot if he was on the table. It did not work out in the slightest. And I think that caused a lot of issues at the start of the season. And I think, as you mentioned, they picked up some momentum towards the end of the year. But I do agree with you. I think right now they feel like a team that's kind of stuck where they are in this like call it mid-table mediocrity. That's just going to see them squeak into the playoffs probably each year or the play-in and kind of top out at that. Like I think they need to properly put pieces around Musa if they're going to take the next steps forward and really challenge for the top of the West. But if they ran it back and didn't make a lot of changes, I don't see them making much further progress up the West.
Yeah, and I can't put my finger on what I think they're missing. And that's the problem. Is like I think they just have a lot of really average players and nobody's going to take them over the top. Right? You got one really good center back in Urhokide. The goalkeeper position, right? Martin Paz didn't finish this season. He wasn't the starter at the end of the year. What do you do with him? You got guys like Nolan Norris who might step up and be, a big piece, but is he a difference maker? I don't know. Do you want to go back and try to run it back with an attacking midfield player? What's Paxton Pomykal going to do? I mean, there's tons of questions with this team, and I'm really interested to see how they approach it and what Eric Quill wants to do with it because, I mean, again, I think it was very impressive that he was able to figure it out at the end of the season. But even when he was doing that, I mean, they were winning games. It just didn't feel like they were, a team that you were like, yeah, they can go for a nice, like, and I think Seattle, right? Seattle 2016, where it was like they were out of the playoffs. They get a couple signings, they get really hot, and you're like, oh, Seattle might do something here. I don't think that was ever crossing our mind for FC Dallas, which again, I don't know what that needs to do. Or who needs to make that decision and make a change, right? Do we need a high level wing player to flank Musa? Do you need a 10 to set him up? I don't know. So I'm really interested to see where that goes.
Yeah, I mean, luckily, I think they have some flexibility with their salary cap, so
Yeah, yeah,
there's opportunity for them.
yeah. And they just got to get it right. Like, again, that's kind of the big thing. If they don't, you're going to see them right back where they were, if not lower. And it'd be interesting to see where that goes. So.